Do, 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 do. Welcome back to our podcast. Blue, blue. Psh.
Ooh.
Today, we're
Hi.
talking about the past. I told you this already.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any initial thoughts, or is it okay if I read the definition?
Go ahead and read the definition. I'm fine with that.
Okay. It is a time or period of time before the moment of speaking or writing. So, literally, that definition was in the past at this point.
What?
Yeah, so anything right after you finish speaking or writing is in the past.
Okay, that makes sense. Never mind. The way it was read off the paper confused me for a hot second. Like, are we doing metaphysical past stuff right now? But no, it's literally anything right after I'm done saying this past.
Yeah. And another thing I wrote about it that made me even feel like this is I was watching Jimmy Neutron and I was just like, it's so funny how you could put yourself in the past just by watching something that you watch when you're younger.
Mm.
And that it's nostalgia. And I knew nostalgia was things that you did in the past, but in the grander sense of things, it's remembering good things in the past. That's what nostalgia is. So it's not just the past.
I mean, I've had nostalgia off of bad things before, you know?
Then it wouldn't be nostalgia. It would just be PSD or something like that. Something
With
you're
PTSD.
remembering. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, I feel like at my age now, I'm not oh my god, when I remember it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's still a nostalgic feeling for me because I'm it was something that happened in the past that no longer happens, and I'm just oh, to the past. I remember it, you know, because it would happen, and then, you know, it'd be like clockwork, I guess I could say.
So, the routine is different, is what you're saying?
No, the routine was the nostalgia, but then I remember how it used to be in the past.
Okay.
So, because I'm not physically afraid of it or hurt by it or anything like that, but I still things can still trigger me to remember it, and I'm not freaking out about it, which would be PTSD, you know.
Yeah.
You're not having a good time with it, but at the same time, I'm not overly happy about it, you know. I'm just oh, that was a thing. Cool, okay.
I feel like there's an exact word for that.
Oh.
But then another thing I was thinking about was history of the past too, because I think millennials specifically have this a different stake on how we're writing history than in the past,
Right.
because we have such a accurate
Account of it.
Account of what actually happened.
Because we were low key digitalizing it as it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
So our past is, I get, like you said, more accurately accounted for, versus what the America's going through right now. You know, where they're all these Confederate general statues are being torn down, and I don't know if you heard. They even are pushing to have Andrew Jackson removed, and George, low-key, they're going for Mount Rushmore. Because they're oh, they used to own slaves, and yada, 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 yada. And it's I get where they're going. I was 100% with them on the Confederate flag, Confederate generals and soldiers. I was all with them. But when they started going for Mount Rushmore, granted, yes, they did own slaves. I'll give you that. That was a horrible thing. But at the same time, they were quote unquote pivotal for the formation of the country. Black people were also pivotal. You don't see a lot of our own monuments, but still, I understand why they want to fight for Mount Rushmore, because if not for George Washington, Andrew Jackson, and the other two that are up there, you know, it's would the country be how it is right now? It probably would, but ever so slightly different. Who knows? So I understand why they want to protect it. And I kind of get why they want to take it down, because they're like, oh, we're now, because they're looking at everybody, they're looking at a lot of past figures under a microscope. And they're like, well, if you want to get rid of the negativity associated with it, we have to get rid of all of it, you know?
But that's what I'm saying, too, about how accurate our past is. I feel like because of that, we are forcing our ancestors to take a more accurate look at their past. Because we're like, all because that's what someone wrote down. What about the other people that couldn't read and write down their experience, you know? We have to try to understand what they were feeling at the time and how they were affected by these things. And for, like how you said, like, the cancel culture is not only canceling someone because of what they did in the past, you have to see what they're doing now. Mm-hmm. So if we look at America in the grand scheme of things, 1,000 years later, 100 years later, what are we doing now to fix the things we did in the past? Mm-hmm. To make us better than we were before.
I don't think America is actually doing anything specifically to fix its past.
Mm-hmm. Which is why we have these riots and these things going on.
I think it's purely a generational evolution thing. Mm-hmm. Because our generations were raised during the digital age and everything is easily accessible, and you can fact check, like during the debates. They fact check you just like that. Mm-hmm. Ain't no, well, we'll get back to you in a week or two with the facts. Like, no, they fact check you right then and there. Mm-hmm. They either telling the world, okay, this fact checks out, they're telling the truth, or he's making up a bunch of bullshit. Mm-hmm. Why is he lying right now? You know,
politicians. You know how they're like, to be a politician, you have to lie. To be a lawyer, you have to lie. And
in the past, in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, you can't just blatantly lie.
You can't.
You know, weirdly enough, a lot of regular people already do it. You have to work the gray matter. You can't work the black matter and be like, I'm going to just straight lie to people and get everybody. No, because you're going to have those people who are going to be like, something didn't sound right about that. Let me look that up. It's going to be wrong. I can't fuck with you no more, you know?
But that's another thing with this generation. This is why the birth of the flat earthers are here. And even though it's crazy to think about, but in their mind, they're like, this is stuff we've been told. I don't know for sure because I haven't seen it with my own eyes.
Right.
So they question literally everything that the past has told us because they don't have an accurate depiction of what the past really is.
But the nice thing about the flat earther thing is I feel like the flat earthers are going to die out rapidly. It's like that new creature that just developed in the ecosystem that's a bridge to another better creature, you know? They're going to die out rapidly because, as you already know, they're trying to commercialize space travel, you know? Mm-hmm. They're trying to. And the moment that's a success is going to be the moment that flat earthers start dying out.
Yeah.
You're going to have the hardcore ones, and you're like, oh, these are just computer screens. I bet you I can open up this hatch right now and walk out onto the set. And they're going to kill a bunch of people. But they'll die out rapidly. They're harmless right now. They can spout whatever they want to spout. They can say they want to prove it. They can say they've proved it or not. Mm-hmm. But with the commercialization of spaceflight, that's going to go away. I also listened to a podcast where the guy was like, I used to be a flat earther. I think he was being a flat earther as a joke. But then he was like, have you heard of the hollow earth theory?
No.
Where there's an entire extra ecosystem, planet, Earth, or whatever, inside Earth. And apparently the whole thing about that one is that they're like, why do you think we don't fly over the North or South Pole for flights?
I thought it was because of magnetism.
The FAA says it's because if anything goes wrong with the plane, where are you going to emergency land? There's nothing up there, you know?
Oh, right.
But he was like, that would technically, if you fly over the poles, would be quicker than flying around them, you know? Like, if you wanted to take a trip from Canada to, like, Europe or Russia or some shit like that, you would just fly over the poles, bam, you're there, right? Mm-hmm. But he says with the hollow Earth theory, there's massive holes up there, and that when the sun hits in there, it reflects and refracts deep into the Earth, into the cavern that's in hollow for the hollow Earth theory, giving it its own sunlight. And then like, you know how when you dig, it starts getting hotter and harder to dig down there, and they're like, that's because they low-key have their own sun and moon cycle down there. And I'm just like, that's crazy.
What?
It's crazy because there's a lot of games and novels based on London cracking open and there being a whole extra world
Isn't
below
that the
it.
Ice Age movie? I think it's like
That's
Ice Age
part
3 or
of,
something.
yeah, but that's part of it. But the thing with the London one is, up here we're human. Down there, it's demons and monsters, like supernatural.
Okay.
So, I low-key took up a lot of our time about our topic with this.
No, it's fine. I love this because I feel like it has a lot of points to it, because
Kind of relates to what we're talking about.
it does, because there's so many things that
We've
just been told, exactly. And I think, yeah, there's no more new frontiers because everything has already been discovered, everything's already been done. But it's just like, all because one person's already done it doesn't mean that was accurate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's like the traveling to the moon thing. Why do we only go to the moon one time?
right. I mean, I'm sure it's expensive and it's a lot to do, but
What? It's more expensive to go to the moon than to go to Mars?
I don't know.
You see how that adds up? Like,
I don't know, but I was saying that millennials especially are changing this world into a throwback Thursday. Like,
yeah.
let's go back and see how intense it was. And even like people that do vlogs, people that do podcasts like this, they're saying the accuracy of what is happening in their life while it's happening, because they don't want to be lied on years from now, you know?
Right.
Like, no matter what you do or how rich or poor you are, you can record your thoughts and your ideas. And yeah, it might not come into fruition in this time and age, but 100 years from now, if someone finds my phone, or if someone finds some random thing on YouTube that only has one
Reactivates
like,
the YouTube servers. It gets all the data
yeah,
from it.
and they can understand what
Went on during this time
right
period.
and what we were thinking about and what we talked about.
Yeah.
You know, this could be Pig Latin years from now, and they're gonna have to let's translate and see what they were saying.
Dang.
You know, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I know. Well, we're coming to the end, guys.
Might have to make these longer.
Bye.
Bye.